Welcome to the Sisters in Service podcast, the space where stories from active duty veterans, military spouses, and even military brats finally get the spotlight they deserve. I'm your host, Kat Corchado, Air Force veteran, movement specialist, and the heart behind this podcast. I started Sisters in Service because too many stories from our community were going untold. Stories of resilience, transition, identity, and the strength it takes to serve and to thrive beyond the uniform. This podcast is about connection, empowerment, and reminding each of us that our service didn't end when our military chapter closed. It simply evolved. Sisters in Service is proudly sponsored by Fit for Life Alliance, a space where people are committed to feeling better in their bodies every single day, and by My Sexy Business, where you can own a business that doesn't own you. So grab your coffee, your journal, or your walking shoes, because every episode is an invitation to listen, learn, and lean into the powerful stories that remind us service is a sisterhood that never fades. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Sisters in Service. It's just me today, which I think is okay. But I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a while. I want to ask you whether you're active duty or veteran. If you're active duty, what does the military mean to you really, like right now? If you're a veteran, what did the military mean to you then, and what does it mean to you now? I'm not talking about the highlight reels, not the airport applause, not the once a year thank you for your service that gets dusted off like a holiday decoration. I'm talking about today, like right now. Because here's the question we don't ask enough. How relevant is the military in the eyes of the civilian community as of today? An even bigger question is, what does it mean to us, veterans? I'm just throwing that out there. I'm speaking to you not from theory, but from lived experience. 20 years of service, female veteran, non-combat, yes, but not untouched by sacrifice, discipline, or the quiet weight of wearing a uniform most people only understand from a distance. And here's the twist. I'm also speaking as someone who's been out for a long time. You guys, April 1st, 2026 will mark 26 years since I took the uniform off. So let's get into it, because this conversation might challenge what you think you know and what you've never been stopped to consider. There's a growing disconnect, I feel. And sometimes we can feel it on both sides. For many civilians, the military's become abstract, asking questions like, do we still need a military? Are they relevant anymore? It's a concept, a symbol, something you respect, sure, but don't necessarily relate to. Like when people speak quantum physics, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I don't get it. Less than 1% of the population serves. Think about that. You guys know this. This is not news to any of us listening, but it might be news to civilians. And this means that the vast majority, the military is something you see in headlines, in movies, or maybe at a football game, flyover, flyby, whatever you call it. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. When something becomes distant, it also becomes easy to misunderstand or even overlook. So take into consideration our political climate right now and what's happening and the soldiers that have to go there. A lot of civilians are like, why are we there? What are we doing? Where are we going? We're probably saying those same questions, asking those same questions too. But relevance requires connection. And connection takes effort from both sides. So not all service looks like combat, but that doesn't make it less significant. I served during peacetime, I guess. Nothing was happening. I didn't want anything to happen. Let's be honest. And it didn't. There's a narrative out there, subtle but loud enough, that if you didn't deploy, didn't see combat, didn't come home with visible scars, then your service somehow sits on a lower shelf. Let me be clear, that's a dangerous oversimplification, because the military isn't just war. It's logistics, it's leadership, it's infrastructure, it's medicine, intelligence, communications, all the things. We know this. Active duty people know this. Veterans know this, but you know who doesn't? Civilians. It's long hours, missed holidays, relocations that uproot families, and a level of discipline most people will never be asked to sustain. But here's something we don't talk about enough. Even within the military community, there can be distance. I've been out for 26 years now. I'll be honest with you, it feels a little weird sometimes. So let me backtrack. For those of you that don't know, I grew up on military bases. My dad was an Air Force active duty and then veteran. He was in for 22 or 23 years. I can't remember now. And that lifestyle, it wasn't just something I did. It was who I was. I thought everybody got to travel. I thought everybody got to see different countries. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. The structure of it, the rhythm, the sense of belonging, it shaped me from the very beginning. People who, a parent or both parents were in the military. We all went to the same school, whether you were an officer's child or an enlisted child. Sometimes even civilians' kids would go to that school. It shaped me from the very beginning. And now, there are moments where I feel somewhat disconnected from today's active military, not because I don't care, not because it doesn't matter to me, not because of anything that anyone has done, but because time creates space, culture shifts, experience evolves. And suddenly you're looking at something that once felt like home from the outside, which is a really bizarre place to be. That's a different kind of disconnect, one people don't always expect veterans to talk about, because we assume shared experience equals permanent connection. I also thought that anyone who served in the military and then became veterans were the best people of all. They were the best. And then I realized, that veterans are people and sometimes people suck. There's that too. But the truth is, connection, just like relevance, has to be maintained. And here's the part civilians don't always see. When we take off the uniform, we just don't go back to normal. We step into a world that often doesn't fully understand the value we bring or how to translate it. And sometimes, if we're being real, we're also trying to figure out where we fit between two worlds, military and civilian, while not feeling fully anchored in either one. So the question becomes, is the military less relevant today, or is it just less visible in a way people recognize? So let me tell you how this came about. I got to go home and see my mom. My mom lives near Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. I remember being on the base, and, the base is where I feel good. It's like, yes, it's like home. And I was watching the soldiers coming in and out in their uniform. It was a Friday, so it was BDU Friday or whatever they call it now. And it felt kind of distant, not unrecognizable, but it was almost like I'd lost a part of that, what it felt like, because it has changed so much. Relevance isn't about whether something matters. It's about whether people perceive that it matters. And perception can be shaped or neglected. So here's why I'll challenge my fellow veterans. We can't expect civilians to understand a story we don't tell. We stay silent if we shrink our experience, if we minimize our contributions because they don't fit a certain narrative, then we become part of the disconnect. Your service counts. My service counts, period, ... And yes, I put that in there, ... And maybe the real opportunity here is not to demand relevance, but to redefine it. What if relevance today looks like leadership in business, like discipline in entrepreneurship, like resilience in wellness and parenting and community building? What if the military's greatest impact now isn't just on the battlefield, but in how veterans show up after service? Now that's a conversation worth having. So I'll leave you with this. If you're a civilian, ask yourself, do I truly understand the military or just the version I've been shown? And if you're a veteran, especially my sisters who served, are you owning your story or are you quietly setting it aside because it just doesn't look like what people expect? Or maybe even this. Are you allowing yourself to acknowledge that feeling of distance without letting it disconnect you completely? That's the hard part. Relevance isn't given. It's claimed, it's communicated, and lived out loud. So my friends, my female veterans, my civilians, wear that hat, wear that t-shirt. Proud and loud, or loud and proud, whatever you want to call it. People need to know. And maybe, just maybe, the military isn't becoming less relevant. Maybe it's just evolving and asking all of us, civilian and veteran alike, to find new ways to stay connected to what it truly means. So I don't know if any of you have thought about this, but it kind of came across my heart and across my mind, and I thought, maybe this needs to be a podcast. Maybe I need to talk about this. So I'm always going to say, please stay safe. Take care of each other. Until next time. And always remember that it's never too late to start your impossible. So until next time.